Here is the basic of every speech. There's three parts: an opening, a body, and a close. So let's start with the opening. The opening is really important because you've got to capture their attention right away. You've got to look confident, and you've got to let them know that you're here to talk to them about what they might want to do. You've got to engage them. I often like to ask rhetorical questions. I often start off with saying something like, who here's nervous about public speaking? Who isn't nervous about public speaking? So I started with those questions. What do those questions do? They got you thinking about, am I nervous or not? And started thinking about public speaking. It shifted your brain to the room. If I just got up here and said, I'm often nervous about public speaking, you might not have connected with me. But the question makes your brain automatically engage and start answering. So rhetorical questions are really great to use throughout a speech, but especially in the beginning. And if you're funny, a good, funny opening story gets the audience going and they connect with you. But I'm not funny, so I use questions. It should be fairly succinct, your opening, and it should grab them and get them going. Some people memorize the opening. I'm talking about professional speakers. And that's because that's so important. And that's okay if you can do it. I can't do it. I can't remember one whole sentence, let alone a whole opening. Just not me. But for you, perhaps. And so you want to work on that opening and make sure that it's going to grab people. Then there's the whole body, the middle of the speech, the middle of the presentation. You should have, depending on how long your speech is, 1, 2, or 3 key points. You don't want to have a lot more than that. You're going to build on them. The body of the speech needs stories because people remember stories. People remember the stories more than they remember the details of the speech. And when you're telling stories, try to be descriptive. So when you're doing a speech and you're telling a story about something and you're telling a story about guys with hats, I'm going to look at him. And you're all going to think, oh, that's the hat, that's the guy. You want to pick somebody out in the audience that represents the story. You can also work the stage to represent stories. So when you're talking about, well, I was in high school, you stand over here. And then when you're talking about facts and figures, you're standing in the middle. And then when you're talking about being 60 years old, you're standing over here. And then you go back there when you're talking about high school again. And for some reason, the audience picks up that, oh, that's the high school spot. I don't know how it happens, but it happens kind of subtly, but it happens. So you can use the room to tie into all of this storytelling and things that are happening in the body. And then you've got a closing. And your closing's a call to action. You want people to get excited at the end and do something. What do I want from all of you? I want you to go home and decide that you're going to try public speaking at this group or some other group within the next month or two. Now, am I going to get everybody to do that? No. Some of you are too afraid of that at this point in life, but some point in life maybe you'll think about this and it'll be fine. You got to have a big closing. You need to be dramatic. You need to build up the energy, and you need to get people enthusiastic at the closing. If you're nervous and you need help, I'll give you some help. Just email me. Happy to help you with your presentation.